I love Lilo and Stitch. The animated one, of course. Hey, this is Defiles. Today I'm reviewing the live-action Lilo and Stitch remake. This is, of course, the 2025 live-action remake of a beloved classic, and I'm going to start listing all the things I love about the movie, or at least like, and that's the titular characters. Yeah, that's it. We definitely need to stop with these remakes. It's time. For the little actress that plays Lilo, she did very, very well. This was her first role ever, I believe, which is really cool. And for bringing this character into live action, I do believe that she did as well as she could. I mean, come on, look at her age. And she captured the energy of her animated counterpart just so well. As for Stitch, they do give him some different hijinks in here, and well, they can be fun. But with a character like this, you do get a more animated version of him in the animated version. But unfortunately, now it's time to get into the many things I dislike about this movie. They changed a lot about this movie outside of the beginning, sort of. And I say sort of because one, it's fast paced, like it's break your neck speed fast paced to set up this movie. Also, no Gantu. Kind of insane that he's not in this, and well, that's the very start of having to have changed so many other characters because either a character is missing or they added someone. After that spark notes of a beginning, you really start to see so many flaws, especially coming with the characters. For example, they do try to add something new to Nani's character, but they also took away so many things. The new thing they added for Nani's character is sweet and nice, like it gave her an ultimate goal, which is pretty cool. However, what they took away from her, she feels like half a character now. You kind of give some of that stuff to a new character in The Neighbor, which is a nice character to have, but there's a certain scene that happens. In the original, it's with Lilo and Nani, and it just helps build that sisterhood so nicely in such a not small moment, but in what seems to be a smaller moment and actually is bigger. But now it's done with The Neighbor instead, and it just doesn't have nearly the same impact. Another situation that's just like this is Cobra Bubbles and the new social worker. Why did we split that up? The whole fun thing with Cobra Bubbles is that he was this social worker who did care and wanted them to be better and stay a family, even though he seemed so tough. And also, he turned out to be a CIA agent in the original. In this one, he's just a CIA agent. It's these changes and another one that I'm about to get into that just really kind of get me mad. The final of the bigger changes for characters come in Pleakley and Jumba. Wow, did they butcher these characters. Jumba, they make so much worse in this. I do love Zach Galifianakis, but what they did to him as a character, no, this seemed like a first draft idea and it should have stayed that way. In this, we get Pleakley, who in the cartoon dressed as a woman and no one had an issue with, by the way. And now that they made it live action, all of a sudden they have to transform into humans. I mean, they do try to do a certain thing in here with, you know, dressing feminine, especially for Pleakley, but I don't know, there was just something about the cartoon versions having admittedly bad costumes and disguises that just worked because they're supposed to be these fish out of water, and they kind of touch on that humor, but it just felt so lazy and just like, hey, we have these two guys in Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnuson, and well, they're gonna be in the majority of the movie, and that will be their disguises. Ultimately, with all these changes in characters and some of the storylines, it basically just represents how these filmmakers and current Disney do not understand on a fundamental level what Lilo and Stitch was and what it meant. As far as its characters, as far as its jokes, as far as its meaning. I mean, there's so many small changes in here that just makes everything worse and hit not quite as hard to an nth degree. It's genuinely so upsetting how, yes, they have similar themes, but they're telling it, and boy, are they telling you and not showing you it in such a bad way. I recently rewatched the original, and it is near perfect as a movie. It's so wonderful, and because it's also animated, they were able to do some other really cool things with the background being in watercolor. And look, the original Lilo and Stitch is masterful. For this to be its live action counterpart is honestly embarrassing. The original is so emotionally intelligent in the way it's able to tell its themes through its characters and just the situations they're going through, and even with something as simple as the ugly duckling scene, something as small as that goes so far, and yet in here there's nothing quite as emotional or heartfelt about it. And also the benefit of animation is that you're able to make the movie just beautiful and dripping in gorgeousness and colors, and this is just so washed of everything. I mean, even Stitch is grayer essentially. And also in the animation, it made Hawaii look so beautiful, but in here it felt like it could have been shot almost anywhere. There wasn't quite that wonderful level of cinematography to match the original animation. In fact, alone when they are surfing, it looks stunning in animation, and then in here might as well have been a home video. Honestly, scratch that, because that would have looked a lot better. It's honestly one of those things where this feels like a death of 1,000 cuts, because it just feels so corporate and soul-sucking. And yeah, there's fun stuff in here, sure, but a lot of it comes from the original, or it just comes from Stitch and Lilo, and even then they're just not allowed to be their highest potential. Even if this had to be live action, there's still so much more potential that this could have had, and they fumbled it. Honestly. Shoot, I'm even going as far as saying some of the translations from the animation to the live action, especially with the alien looks, a little bit of nightmare fuel, I'm not gonna lie. Also, one weird thing I kept noticing throughout the entire movie was how many times a character would be speaking, but yet their face wouldn't be shown. It either felt like they did a lot of ADR and they had to hide it some way, or it was just shot this way and it's just not the best way to be shot. This version of Lilo and Stitch, I think, is less than 20 minutes longer than the original, but it feels like it's an hour longer because just about everything is worse. And it's really heartbreaking because even though I was hesitant about this movie, I was still rooting for it. I love the original Lilo and Stitch, and of course anything Lilo and Stitch related, I want to be good. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be a hater on here, but my god, this is just bad. So bad that there's even a line in here that one of the characters goes up and says, "I swear if they're doing another tic-tac dance." I'm so tired of that joke that's been in so many movies and shows and just so many mediums. I'm over it. I'm over them referencing TikTok and saying it on purpose because the person who's making the joke or making the reference is just older, that they don't understand. I'm tired of that. It's so lame. I give Lilo and Stitch 2025 a 1.5 out of 5 stars. This honestly is so heartbreaking how bad it was. I mean, there are some nice little nuggets in here, but so much, again, derives from the original or is just a worse version of it. I'm genuinely upset. But alright, those are my thoughts on Lilo and Stitch, the live action one. Be sure to let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.